Okay, now let's talk about the main news, that is the provisional GDP estimates for financial year 2025 and quarter 4 financial year 2025-2026 is released. But the question is, we are in 2026-2027. So why are we talking about 2025-2026 and 2020 and the provisional estimates of that year? So before that, you have to understand how the budgeting works. So in the budget document, if you see the budget document, you have three important estimates or financial years that you have to see. For example, if you are talking about the budget 2026-2027, which began on 1st Feb, it begins in April. It begins on 1st April to 31st May. So that is the thing, it's 1st April to 31st May. But one thing is, there was a change. Yes, I remembered. It is the RBI that changed its financial year from July, June to April, March. So it is RBI that did this. And it updated its accounting period in the year 2021-2022. So this was implemented from that year. Yeah, so that is all. And I think it was the recommendation of Bimal Jalan committee. Bimal Jalan, RBI, change of financial year, important fact. Please remember. Okay, so that is just straying away from the topic. But anyway, so the budget has 3 years. If you are seeing for the year 2026-2027, the financial year begins on 1st April and 1st April of 2026 and goes up to 31st March of 2027. And we have 3 informations on that. 3 financial years are mentioned. One is the actuals of the financial year 2024-2025. Then we have the revised estimates for financial year 2025-2026 and the budget estimates for the financial year 2026-2027. So first I'll explain this part. Let's take the example of 2025-2026. They made an estimate for the budget. They made an estimate. For example, they need some 10k crores was estimated from the information from the previous year. You will understand how the previous year information came. So there is an estimate of 10k crores based on how the manufacturing sector, the agriculture sector and the service sector performed in the previous year. So in 2025-2026 budget, that is on 1st Feb 2025, they made an estimate that we need 10,000 crores. Then the financial year starts, that is on 1st April. Then you have the first quarter. So the quarters are divided as follows. So it's not there. Okay, let me explain. So every financial year, which begins from 1st April to 31st March, has 4 quarters. So your 12 months are divided 3 months each into 4 quarters, and the first quarter is 1st April, May, June up to June is quarter 1, July to September is quarter 2, September, October, November, December is quarter 3, and Jan to March is quarter 4. Okay, so you understood the quarters. So the quarters begin. You can see on 1st Feb the quarters begin, and then they have some information. They get some information from the 2025-2026 budget year. For example, some performance happens. They estimate that like out of the 10k crores of budget which they estimated would be spent in the quarter 1, they spent around 2k crores. Alright, so that gives them another estimate for quarter 2. So if in quarter 1 they spent 2k crores, they might spend 2.5k crore or more than that, because it is the rainy season, July to September, you might have to give more money, more loans, so more budget is required. So maybe 4k crores is required. So based on that, they make estimates. So again, they had quarter 4, then you get information on quarter 2 jitna paisa hua, they get information, and quarter 3 also you get information how much money was spent. And then quarter 4 doesn't begin, that is the problem. Quarter 4, I mean, it begins in Jan and March, but you have to submit the budget in Feb. You have to submit the budget in Feb. So that is an issue. So that is one issue. Put that aside. So now you see, you have actuals, you have the revised estimates, and then you have the budget estimate. So once again, where are we? We are at 2025. I told you we have information. We have various information from quarter 1 to quarter 3. And based on this information, they estimate for quarter 4. And based on that total, for example, some 8k crores was spent in the year 2025-2026. So they estimate that, so this is also an estimate. We do not exactly know the actual numbers. So that is why you see actual here. So in order to know the actual figure, you will take at least 2 years. So it takes at least 2 years for you to get the actual figure of kitna money paisa spend hua hai. Okay. So in 2025, 2026, again we have entered 2026. We are in Jan. We have to make the budget and we have to release it on 1st Feb. So based on the quarter information from 2025, we make an estimate कि इतना पैसा होगा कि 10k crores is what we are required for the next year's budget, for 2026-2027 budget as well, is what that is understood. And they make an estimate कि इतना budget हुआ है. So we are estimating. So I told you, right, they take quarter 4 estimate and they take quarter 1 to 3. So they take quarter 1 and quarter 2 and quarter 3. That is they are also estimates. They are not actual exact numbers because it takes perfect time. But this is the this is the latest information. So the latest information you get is 2025. In the 2025 in quarter 3, that is up to December, you have your latest information. So using this latest information, they make an estimate for quarter 4, and that total, this quarter 1 to quarter 4, is called your revised estimate. Okay, is that understood? Actuals you do not know up to 2 years. So I hope you understood what a revised estimate is. And then based on this revised estimate, they make a budget estimate for the upcoming year. Is that understood? So you have actuals, you have revised estimate, and then you have budget estimate. So this is just little complicated, but anyway, we have a system. So you see the complete timeline. April 2025 financial year starts, June quarter 1 ends, okay, September quarter 2 ends, December quarter 3 ends. Now you have the first advanced estimates. In Jan 2026, you have the first advanced estimate, that is कि कितना पैसा spend हुआ based on the information from your quarter 3. And then they do this, they add the quarter 4, and then they give you a revised estimate. Ki, see, in 2025-2026 budget estimate, they estimated that they're guessing that 10,000 crore ka paisa is required. Then we have some raw information. We have some raw data up to Q3 that 8k crores was spent. So it is almost nearing your budget estimate. So they make a revised estimate. And they tell that okay, 8k crores was spent and we are expecting more of like maybe 1000 crores will be spent. So the revised estimate is 9000 crores. And then you can see the budget estimate was 10,000 crores. Next, in 2026-2027 financial year, when they release the budget, what information they have? They have the actuals. They have the actuals for 2024 and 2025. Then they have the revised estimate for the previous year, that is 2025-2026. And then they have the budget estimate for the upcoming year. And then this cycle repeats. Then this cycle repeats. And for this cycle to repeat again is why we have this news. So first advance estimate, and then you also have something called the second advance estimate, and then you have the provisional advance estimate as well. So I hope you guys understood what the quarters are. That is about the quarters. And now you have to understand what is first advance estimate and second advance estimate. So I told you what is first advance estimate. It is based on the information from quarter 1 to quarter 3. Then again you get some more information. Then you again get some more information from Jan. So that information is added, and that is called the second advance estimate. So they are still estimating, they are still guessing कि कितना पैसा हुआ FY 2025 and 2026 में. Okay, and then the financial year ends, and after the financial year ends, so after your 2025-2026 has ended, then you have the provisional estimate. So because it has ended, you have the quarter 4 information as well. So now you have the proper data. Once you have the proper data, you can make a provisional estimate कि इतना पैसा हुआ. So for example, 10k was the budget estimate, and maybe they spent 11k. So the raw information is giving that provisional estimate says that 11k crores were spent. And once the provisional estimates are done, they finally give you the actual estimate. So the actual estimate of 2025-2026 you can see in the budget of 2027-2028. Okay, I hope this is understood. This is the issue. Okay, so that is the news. So if you understand all of this, if you understand actual, revised estimate, budget estimate, and then you understand all of this information, that is when you understand our news. So what is the news? MOSPI through NSO released the provisional estimate. So what is provisional estimate? The information of quarter 1 to 4. Proper raw data for financial year 2025-2026. Because we have the Q4 data, obviously, because you have the Q4 data, that is when you can make a provisional estimate. So that is the headline. And now these estimates are based on the new. You have to know this information. Now the GDP series base year is 2022-2023, which was introduced in this year only. That is 27th Feb 2026. And you guys also have to know that CPI, WPI, IIP has also moved to CPI is 2024 is the base year, WPI's base year is 2022-2023, and IIP I forgot currently. So yeah, so these are the base years for everything. So they are trying to change the base years because previously it was 2011 to 2012, which is redundant, you know. It is more than 14 years old, no? So you can't use this information. This becomes outdated. So in order to get better information, better assessment of inflation and depreciation, you have the base year at 2022-2023 currently. So that is all, guys. So that has happened. You finally, once the quarter 4 is finished, so you get this information anyway. Once April is done, you can estimate that you will get the information. See, you can estimate कि अब तो आ जाएगा. In May you will get the information, the raw data for quarter 4, and you can make provisional estimates for this information is what you can understand. Along with that, they also gave some indicators. Sorry, not indicators. They talked about the growth performance of various aspects. You can see real GDP. So again, you have to know the difference between real GDP, nominal GDP. Real GDP is adjusted to inflation. Real GDP is adjusted to inflation. Nominal is not adjusted. So adjusted to inflation, inflation, you can see it is 7.7% growth. Nominal is 8.9%. So nominal is always higher than real because, you know, inflation is there, right? So that gives you extra number. Okay. So this is all just information. And you can see sectoral trends are also there. You can see everything has increased. Food, cereal, rice, wheat has increased. Nobody's going to ask you these informations. So, but you can just estimate ki most probably they have increased only. Until and unless, again, we had the Strait of Hormuz issue, right? So you can see the effect. You can see the effect of the Strait of Hormuz issue. We started in Jan-Feb. It started in Jan-Feb. So the effect of Jan-Feb 2026-2027, you will not see now. You will see it next year because this is quarter 4. This is quarter 4 of 2025-2026. Okay, this is quarter 4 of 2025-2026, and by then the impact was not seen. So you can see the impact of Jan Feb in the year April. You can see it in April 2026. So you see this once you finish the quarter 1. So right now it is May, right? June. Once June ends, around July is when you will see when you get the information of quarter 1 of 2026. That is when you see the actual effect. So right now you can see everything is in plus only, but maybe in July, when the quarter 1 of 2026 is released, we will get to know how the Strait of Hormuz, the Middle East situation has affected, especially the Iran issue, has affected the Indian import export, has affected the Indian GDP per se. That is all. So what is the methodology used? The estimates are compiled using the benchmark indicator methodology. This is very, very, very important. Please remember that the benchmark indicator methodology is used. And Alkine Foster is used for something else. Alkine Foster. It was asked 2 or 3 times in UPSC. And see, I even forgot. Let me just Google it. I don't even know if the spelling is right. Foster method. I think it's for some... Okay, Alkire Foster method. Alkire Foster method for multidimensional index. Yes, for multidimensional index. Alkire Foster method is used for multi-dimensional index. Okay, let me write the spelling. Alkire Foster is used for multi-dimensional index. Multi-dimensional poverty index is the point. So what is it? It was developed. You can also see it was. These are names of 2 people. So it was developed by them. Sabina Alkire and James Foster in 2007. This is for the global multidimensional poverty index. And who releases this? Who releases global dimensional GMDP? Who releases? See, I keep forgetting. By UNDP, yes. So this is a different thing, but I just remembered once I saw benchmark indicator method. I also remembered the Alkire Foster method, which is used for measuring multidimensional poverty index, which is released by UNDP. It's released by UNDP and Oxford Poverty Human Development Initiative. Human development. This is for human development. This is for budget. So BB budget, you can remember, benchmark indicator for budget. The methodology follows the IMF Quarterly National Accounts Manual. So we also follow the IMF Quarterly National Accounts Manual. That is all. And these are the major data sources. Like, this is very deep information, but you can see advanced crop estimates, fish and livestock production, IIP, 8 core industries index. We discussed about this in our previous videos. 8 core industry index. And I also asked you to remember what are the 8 industries. What are the 8 core industries? I asked you to remember. So I think it is first is petroleum products, and you have crude, you have coal, you have crude, you have fertilizers, which is at the last. I asked you guys to remember it with a mnemonic. So yes, and you have GST data, steel consumption, vehicle sale, railway, port, lots of information, CPI, WPI, everything is used. Okay. And I think even core industries is also using the base year as 2022-2023. And who releases the information? For core industry and WPI? The information is released by DPIIT, Office of Economic Affairs. And everything else mostly is released by MOSPI and NSO. So NSO releases CPI, IIP. CPI, IIP, uh, periodic labor force survey, etc. So I hope all of this is understood. I also wanted to explain how GDP is measured, what kinds of GDPs we have at market cost, at factor cost, at market price, and basic price. We also have differences in terms of net and gross, how depreciation affects net and gross, how net factor income from abroad affects GDP, but that is going to be extremely lengthy because the current topic itself is very confusing. So remember this as of now. This is the core information about budget. This is how they form the budget. And once you realized how the budget is formed, we can also see how national income is calculated. We can see that in some other video, or I'll make a separate video on budget itself. Okay, this is done here.